On this edition of inCycle, a race with a difference. It's the Ladies' Tour of Norway.
I try to cooperate with a lot of other festivals and other things happening in the cities where we are located, the races.
We hear from young Danish talent Mads Schmidt on progressing through the ranks.
It's been a great journey for me. I came to this team because I needed a team to support me in almost every race, and they really did.
There's a look ahead to the World Road Championships in Qatar.
For sure, like more technical circuit suits me better, and that finish as well is a bit of a drag up to the finish line.
But first, at home in Holland with Nikita Terpstra.
Cycling was not part of my family. I started cycling as a young kid. I always liked to ride the bike. I liked to ride it fast. I wanted to go to school as fast as possible. So always started too late to go to school, but still ended up on time. And then I saw cycling on television and thought, that's the sport I like to do. Yeah, my brother was too young to start cycling when I started it, but yeah, then he got used to see me cycling, and he also wanted to do it. And since then, we're both on the bike. I like to being out. It's on the bike. You can make high speed with your own force. It's not a motor or anything. You do it yourself, and you can go out and go for 200 Ks. And then in the races, it's the competition. That's real stuff. Yeah, I like to see some nice races on television. I prefer to do it always when I'm on the couch and I see a race. Then I'm thinking, why I'm not riding there? You already do enough races. But still, always when I see people cycling, I'm gonna go on the bike. Already when I was young, I liked the classics a lot because it's tough races, and I think it's also the coolest races. And I'm happy I'm also good in the races now. Winning Paris-Roubaix was something really special because it was my dream race. But my motivation didn't change because now I want to win it twice. It's nice to come home when I win, and it's nice to have the family that supports you, and it's really nice to see when they're also happy for you when you win. I met Ramona actually the year before I became professional rider. She was always there, and of course she was a big support of me. And Luca is now 7 years old, so his whole life I'm a cyclist, and so he is 3. But it's nice to see they also like cycling, and especially Luca. He's crazy about cycling. Time trial. He's even got a aero suit of the Dutch national selection, a speed suit of expensive speed suit because they made it for me, but something went wrong, and then it was way too little, so now he's got an aero suit that fits him well. Yeah, he recognizes me really well, actually. If you see a group of 200 riders on the television, he can pick me out, like, that's Daddy. When I don't win enough, I also hear it from Luca. He's really saying, oh, it's the time you win again. I know, I'm trying, and it's funny, he understands it. Some training camps, it can be really boring also, and then when you come home it's suddenly busy and you have to really switch, especially if you come back from a grand tour. Everything is done for you. They cook for you, they clean the dishes, they wash your clothes, everything is settled for us. So then we come home and then, yeah, I have to put my plate in the dishwasher myself and stuff like this. Yeah, sometimes you need some days to adapt. I especially miss the kids a lot. And for them it's also hard because sometimes I go away now. I go for 4 weeks to Spain for the Vuelta. I'm happy with the technology these days. We can do some FaceTiming every day, and hopefully the internet is good in the hotels. So we still have some contact, but still you're not around. And I miss most the simple things. Just being at home and hug them. Just the simple things, actually. Nothing special, just being there, give them a hug when they go to bed, or just being on the couch with them, watching a Disney film. It's just, yeah, being there.
Hallo.
Ga zwaaien, Zoe. Oh. Jij?
This year's edition of the UCI World Championships will have a very different feel. For the first time, cycling's annual celebration is heading to Qatar, reflecting the changing face of the sport. With a departure from more traditional settings, the racing could have a different feel too. Yet for many who will line up in the women's race in October, it won't be a total unknown. Those who rode stage 1 of February's Ladies Tour of Qatar got more than a flavour of how the fight for the rainbow jersey might pan out. And the verdict is, it's not what you'd expect for a Qatari road race.
Something else than I had expected. You know, Qatar is normally like big, wide, straight roads and open in the desert and sand and a lot of wind. But yeah, no, I think it's very technical.
So what does the course entail? As the race leaves Doha's education city, it winds its way towards the circuit that will feature in all of the week's races. The 15.2-kilometre loop through and around the artificial island known as the Pearl will be tackled 7 times in both the women's and men's races. With 2 big bends around the lavish housing complexes, the riders could be at the mercy of the elements of the Arabian Gulf as they round the tip of the island to make their way back to the finish.
It's actually very different to what I expected. You know, I thought the wind would play a bigger factor in it, and you know, the race hasn't obviously been raced yet, but I don't think it will be as large a factor as people would expect.
It's quite a hectic course with all the corners, roundabouts and stuff. It feels a bit like a criterium. So yeah, I don't know what to think about it, but at least the finish is going to be quite hard. Corner, and then it's quite a nice straight road, but windy and a little bit slightly going up, so that's at least a nice thing.
Well, there are lots of corners. I think the roads are wide, so that's why it's going to be fast as well, I think. But yeah, there are quite some 180-degree turns, so yeah, I think it's still quite technical.
Initial reactions earmark this as a course for the sprinters, with most tipping Kirsten Wild for glory. It was, after all, Wild who won on the road back in February. But the course's technical nature may serve up an unpredictable race. With narrow roads within the circuit and potential for crosswinds, classic specialists could have their say.
For sure, like a more technical circuit suits me better, and that finish as well is a bit of a drag up to the finish line. So I don't think the wind is going to be much of an issue. It's more going to be about the high speed.
Well, for me it's not the best course ever, because of course I'm really light and not so powerful as riders like Kirsten Wild or Van Dijk and other riders, but I think it will be really technical in the final with a lot of roundabouts and corners.
Often in Qatar you're on these massive wide roads, but we won't be on those in October, so it's a very different course to what I thought, but it's still one for the sprinters. You know, it could go either way. It could go a bunch sprint, it could go a small group, or it could go a solo rider. So I think they've done really well to find a course like that in Qatar. I won't say I'm happy about it. I would prefer ones that was like definitely going to be split up in the crosswinds. But yeah, we'll just have to see what happens in October.
So what do the riders say to those doubting Doha's suitability to host the Worlds? From a racing standpoint at least, there's not too much to worry about.
Some say it's not really a world's course, but what is a world's course? I say it's nice that they changed it around a bit and that it's something different. The last couple of years have been a bit the same, and like up and down, and more for the like classic riders or more like the half climbers. Always smaller groups coming in, and like this one, it for sure opens up for all different scenarios, and also maybe more of a tactical game can be a part of it.
The Tour of Denmark offers a chance for some of the country's brightest stars to go toe-to-toe with some of the biggest teams in cycling. This year's race saw Tinkov's Michael Valgren top the podium, but another Danish star took the race by storm. It was Team Virtue Pro Velo Concepts' Mads Schmitz.
It's been a great journey for me. I came to this team because I needed a team to support me in almost every race, and they really did. I've won a lot this year, and thanks to my teammates and the whole team, from the management to everybody around, they have supported me throughout the season, and it has really helped me a lot to achieve my goals, and I'm really happy here. We have so much fun. It's like we just have to look at each other, then we start laughing. So I really enjoy it here, and I'm super proud of my teammates and everything that we have achieved together, and it has been a very big year for us, and yeah, we just love being together.
Denmark's development of young cyclists has seen many riders make it to the World Tour, and even at continental level the riders can mix it with the big boys.
I think we're the biggest development team in Denmark, and hopefully next year there's some other guys to take my role and to start winning. It has been a little tough this year for the other guys to go and take some victories, but they really did their best to help me, and I think they've learned a lot from it, and hopefully it's something they can use next year.
This year's Tour of Denmark saw former Tour de France winner Bjarne Riis join the team with the Riis Sire project, and he had an immediate impact, with Vert Schmidt in particular putting in a string of strong performances.
We've been trying to keep it as it always is, because we don't want too big changes, but I can feel in the other riders and everyone around that it is something new. It's some big personalities around the team now, and Bjarne and Lars Seier, and some really big names. He keeps telling us that we need to be together as a team, otherwise we could never achieve what we want to. And I think it has done something to the guys, and we've been better in this race than we have been throughout the year. So of course it has something to do with Bjarne is being around.
And racing amongst some of the World Tour's big teams like Tinkoff and Lotto NL Jumbo was a superb opportunity.
Yeah, the Tour of Denmark was a great race for us. I won the TT stage, and the other stages was also really good for us. I got second also in the first stage and third overall, so it was an amazing race for us, and at the race we were better than we had been throughout the whole year, so really big experience for us.
Having performed well at his home race, attention's now turned to the World Championships for the young Dane, as he hopes to defend his under-23 time trial title.
For the rest of the season I have the Worlds as a big goal. I want to defend my rainbow jersey from last year. I have some big races with the national team, and I want to perform there as well, but it's not that big of a goal for me. But yeah, after this race, I'm looking forward to the Worlds, and in the longer future, I'm hoping to get to the World Tour next year, and then it's hard for me to say what I really want to, because I have to find myself and get a new role in a new team, and it will be hard, but I'm really looking forward to it.
Schmidt's chance to defend his title is approaching. However, the memory from Richmond is still fresh in his mind to help him along the way.
It was amazing. I remember just before I was going to the podium to get the jersey, I sat in the back and cried in front of all the podium girls. It was a really emotional day, and my father was there also to support me. He traveled alone all the way to the States to be there in a week, and he was there to support me, and that meant a lot. So it was one of the biggest days of my life.
Norway is quickly becoming a major European cycling destination. With the Tour of Norway and the Arctic Race of Norway already established as staples on the men's cycling calendar, the Ladies Tour of Norway is flying the flag in women's sport.
Many years there was only UCI races for the men's in Norway, and now we got also a race for women's. So it's good for the young girls also in Norway, that they can work towards this race. And yeah, it's good for the media. As a local girl, yeah, I really enjoy it. I like the courses, and yeah, the people here, they're very supportive. So for me, it's really a great race. I grown up here, and also because my dad start this race, and he's the leader of this race, and also now my boyfriend's in their organization. So it's special.
With the Ladies Tour of Norway now in its third year, the development of the UCI Women's World Tour has been a big target for the race organisers, cycling being one of the fastest growing sports in the country.
It's 3.5 years ago, together with Heidi Stenbo-Kokstad. We think we were ready for a UCI race in Norway too. We have a lot of good men's race. So we started 3.5 years ago, and the first edition was in 2014. I think to have a growth for the women, and they deserve it. We have a very big interest for cycling in Norway, and it's growing also for women, and that's naturally that they also have good competitions, both to cooperate with the international teams, but also for a growth for the national teams in Norway. We have a long-term strategy thinking, and we have applied for the Women's World Tour next year. And we have started talking about how we are able to organize it. So hopefully we are ready for the World Tour next year.
To reach UCI Women's World Tour status takes a lot of preparation, with planning getting underway over a year before the race starts. But it's over its 3 years so far, the race has moved from strength to strength.
We already started thinking about next year back in May this year when we applied for the dates for next year. So yeah, I'll think immediately on Monday after this race is concluded, we will start to look for 2017, and we want to grow as a race, and we are aiming for the definitely top.
It's a kind of a step-up plan. We have a group of 10 people working mainly from February. And then it's step up from April, May, June, July, and of course the weekend for the race. And totally for the weekend for the race, we have 330 people in the organizing committee, so it's quite heavy. In the beginning, races for women in Norway was not so well known. So I think we started more or less zero, with nothing. So we have built up a good communication with the cities, with the counties, and also the government. So the 3 levels, cities, counties and government, they support the race, and they will be supported also in the future. The learns is that we have many things to improve, but I think we improve every year. So We have some hiccups in the organization, of course, but mainly I think it's running very well this year. But if we will like to have a growth, we have to stabilize the organization and continuously working with it. So if we have the same person into the organization next year, I think we are able to improve.
But the strength of any race is the racing itself. And on the final day, both overall victory and a stage win were up for grabs. Lucinda Brandt began the day as leader at the start in Svinesund, but with bonus seconds available on the finishing laps in downtown Halden, a group of 5 riders formed an attack and began to eat into her advantage. Anuska Costa of Rabo Liv beat the rest to win the stage, with her compatriot Brandt doing enough to secure overall victory. But even with the results decided and the champagne finished at the race, the celebrations continued in the town of Halden.
The finish area in Halden, that's where the race originally started 3 years ago. So we are working closely with the community of Halden, and we know I think that's the city where we have the most backing from spectators and everything. So Halden is really the heart of this race.
I try to cooperate with a lot of other festivals and other things happening in the cities where we are located, the races. And we have concerts, we have musicals, we have even festivals for American cars. So I try to build you could say a package, a big event, not only a race from A to B. We like to present Norway. We think we live in a very beautiful country, and to see the coastline and everything. Tonight we have invited a lot of the teams to a boat trip to see the beautiful coastline in Norway and Sweden. So that's, I think they deserve to have also something more than only a race.
That's it for this edition. Join us next time though. Until then, keep up to date with us on social media.